How would you like to use AI to illustrate 1750 in England and have AI help you describe what it was like in 1750 in England? Who was reigning as the monarch? What were the people like? These are things that you can do with the help of AI. And AI can do it in a matter of minutes, while regular research, maybe somebody that you would pay to do this, would come back in 1 or 2 weeks and hand you a bill for $800 or $1,500. You can do this with AI and it'll only cost you 15 to 20 cents. Well, that's a great deal. And here at Hand It Down, we're all about bringing your story to be their treasure. And to do that, you have to have a story and then you illustrate the story. So if you're doing family history and you want to know what it's like in, let's say, Munich, Germany in 1640, you can go like I use, for instance, and maybe let me show you right now. Let's use Claude to be able to go through and we'll say, what's it like in Munich, Germany during 1640? What is the architecture like? Tell us something about the people. And let's see what Claude gives us. Okay, here we are with Claude. I have a subscription for $20 a month for Claude AI. And this is Opus 4.6 that we're using. Basically, we just ask a question. In this case, we want to find out more about the architecture of Munich and the people and the occupations. Tell me, or give me 3 paragraphs on the architecture of Munich, Germany in 1640. Now I could do this with voice recognition, but it comes out better on the video if I don't use that. So we just hit this arrow key. Claude is thinking. It stood in the middle of the devastating years of the 30-Year War. Munich fared comparatively well. Here's the residence where he lived. The religious architecture of Munich, this period represents deep Catholic identity, stronghold of a counter-reformation. St. Michael's Church was downtown, was completed in 1597, stood as one of the largest Renaissance churches north of the Alps. Yeah, let's find out more about what were the major 20 occupations of typical people in Munich, Germany in 1640. Yeah, let's find out what the occupations were like. Brewery, baking, butchery, carpentry, joinery, masonry, stonecutter, blacksmith, tailoring, shoemaking, tanning, leatherworking, coopering, making barrels, weaving, pottery, domestic service, soldiering, cart driving and hauling, innkeeping, church service, and market selling and petty trade. Now, see, if you have an ancestor in Munich, Germany in 1640, this is probably the occupation that they had. What were the major crops on farms surrounding Munich, Germany in 1640. So let's find out. I mean, something for beer, of course. Barley, yeah, number one for beer. Oats for feed. Rye, again, probably for beer. Wheat, spelt. Flax for linen. Hemp, similar purpose for linen. Turnips, yep, turnips and cabbage. Peas, lentils, beans. Hay and meadow grasses for the animals. Apples and pears. So this is the kind of produce that would be shipped into the city center to make the food or brew the beer for the people. So you had meat and such like that. Now, what style of clothing did the men and women wear in Munich, Germany in 1640? That's always good to know, because if you're writing a story about somebody, you might want to be able to include, what they were wearing at the time. Breeches, balloon trunk hose, Elizabethan area, fallen collar. Women's clothing, a bodice, skirts, farthingale, hoops, overskirt. Common men's clothing, basic linen shirt as a foundational undergarment worn against the skin, and then a doublet, or more commonly jerkin, waistcoat made of sturdy wool or leather. A leather belt was essential for carrying things. Cloaks or heavy mantles for winter. What about women? Linen camise, bodice, apron, kerchief, and then how the war influenced the garments. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. And were there any sports activities in Munich, Germany in 1640? Yeah, good question to find out what's going on. Court activities, hunting, okay. Falconry, that's not for the commonplace people. Horsemanship and riding. Fencing, okay, this is for the ball games. Let's see. Court tennis, common people, good. Wrestling, stone throwing, log lifting, shooting, bowling, skittles. When I was in Munich, they still play these games, bowling and skittles. Ice activities, swimming, and then here's some festivals. So you see, if you wanted to write a story about an ancestor, a common ancestor that lived during these times, you could do that with the help of Claude AI, Opus 4.6 or the like. So you can see how this amount of information probably cost me 30 cents, maybe 25 cents to create. If you had to condense this down, and you see how fast we did it. We did it Claude answered in a matter of seconds, and it took me longer to read. I didn't have to expend hardly any effort except for to sign up and then just write out a question. And, I came up with all these uh, occupations. And, for instance, if you had somebody living in Germany in 1640 and you didn't know their occupation, you might choose one and say, well, he could have been a cooper making barrels and casks for brewing, because that was really a big deal in those days. Or maybe you could say he was a farmer, planting turnips and barley. Or he might have been a mason. And you could just choose an occupation and say he could have been. That's something that you could guess at here, because these are common jobs. So we found out a lot from Claude. See how easy it is? You've got some research there. This might have cost 5 cents to do, maybe even less. Because I'm on a $20 per month subscription, this is definitely less than a quarter. This didn't cost anything at all, almost. So now let's say I want to illustrate. Let's go to Hawaii, one of my ancestral lands. Let's go to Hawaii in 1805. This is when King Kamehameha was around. And my ancestor, John Palmer Parker from Boston, landed in Hawaii and married King Kamehameha I's granddaughter. So let's try to illustrate, create a couple of illustrations with Google's NotebookLM. We'll create these slides. And what we'll do is prompt each one of the slides. Let's make a slide of King Kamehameha with his family on the right and left of him, and him sitting down in all his regalia as he's as John Palmer Parker might have met him on the Big Island. And let's make another slide where King Kamehameha is raising a staff and like he's proclaiming something. Now let's make another slide where King Kamehameha is meeting John Palmer Parker for the first time, this Englishman with a rifle, and it's their first introduction. And then let's make a fourth slide. Let's make a slide where King Kamehameha is blessing his granddaughter and giving her to marry John Palmer Parker. Oh, let's make a fifth one. The story of John Palmer Parker is about the Parker Ranch. And so let's show John Palmer Parker on a horse with some cattle around him on the Big Island. Okay, let's just go. Let's go to Google NotebookLM and look at the results. Okay, here we have Google NotebookLM, which is an AI program, and it's great for creating slides. So I use this to create slides for all of my presentations. Like here's the ones on snakes, frogs, and pollywogs. And so we're going to create a new one. And then I'm going to copy some text in it as a reference. And I save it in my notebook. Like right here. Handed down profile. I just copy this. Basically it tells the notebook what I'm trying to do. And that's stored over here. So this basically says This is a reference of everything I want. Like, for instance, I don't want any words listed. Sometimes I have to re-emphasize that. So now, let's see. Oh, I wanted to make a title for this, but I guess I'm too late. But let's go over here, and what I want to do is a slide deck. So look at all the other options you have. You can do data tables, flashcards, mind map, reports, quizzes. Well, we're going to do a slide deck. So I click this right button, and I want to create presenter slides. That's the default. Then we just write what in here. So write what we want. I don't want any words on the slides specifically. Then I usually just number the slides. Slide 1. What did I want? I want King Kamehameha on a throne. Show King Kamehameha. I think it's Kame with an E there. Kamehameha the first on his throne, seated in 1805 in a with his wives and children sitting on his right and left hand. Show the wives and children cross-legged on the ground. Let's have a background. Create a woven, what do they call those? Palm frond. Wall. I don't know if it's how do you spell frond here. Yeah, well, palm leaf. Wall behind them. Okay, so there we have the first one. Show Kamehameha with a feather lay with yellow and red feathers, typical of ones found in the Bishop Museum in Honolulu. Okay. Slide 2. Show the same scene as before. Have Kamehameha raise his right arm with a carved staff, like one found in the Bishop's Museum in Honolulu. Slide 3. Show the same scene in slide 1. Now place a sailor holding a musket of the 1805 era. Bowing to the king. King Kamehameha. Okay. Slide 4. Create a slide, a picture of Kamehameha with his right arm held up and forward. Place a Hawaiian. Place his granddaughter dressed in Hawaiian clothing, standing next to the sailor with musket. Have the young couple holding hands. Oh, I need to go back up here and say that this guy's young. The sailor should look between 22 to 25 years old. The sailor is from Boston, and his heritage is English. Now let's make the fifth one. Slide 5. Create a picture of the sailor in Hawaiian outfit, sitting on a horse with 15 long horn cattle wandering around the horse on the Hawaiian hillsides. On the grassy hillside of the big island in Hawaii. Place a palm leaf woven hat on his head. Okay, now we've got these 5, and let's hope we didn't make any mistakes. We hit generate, and over here it'll generate these slides. Now I'll end up editing the time it takes, because it takes probably 3 to 4 minutes. So now we have it's actually created or rendered the images, so let's look at them. Again, these are created images. They are not photos. It looks pretty much like I asked. Cross-legged. And here's the king. Here's the king holding his staff. Okay, I don't like this one. Here's the sailor with his gun out. I should have specified from the back. So let's go through the rest of these. Oh, this is a good one. Here's the sailor with his gun, holding the hand with the granddaughter, King Kamehameha. Okay, I like that one. And here he is with animals out there. Oh gosh, it made more. I don't know what these are. Okay. Well, it used my profile to say this is what I'm doing, because I'm trying to create, help you create, take all of your images, and everybody's confused here, and how to take them and with the app that I'm creating, use it to take a photo of like these photos, these old photos, and then help you dictate a story. And that's what Hand It Down is trying to do. And then everybody's happy because now it's printed in a book or a digital page of some kind. Whatever it'll be, I don't know exactly what. But I like all the images except for this one. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hit revise. Show the sailor from the back. Make sure Kamehameha is completely visible. Have the sailor holding the top of the musket with no bayonet. Probably best to show this at an angle. Have the wives and children looking at the sailor. Well, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if it'll just create one or create a whole bunch. We'll see. Okay, now it's rendered the image. It's located right here. Let's open that. It's got all the same. And let's look at this image. Yeah, that's what I wanted. They're looking at him. He's got the gun there, and there's the King Kamehameha. Good. So, as you can see, we've created images to illustrate a story from 1805, to recreate what it might have looked like, to have King Kamehameha with his wives and kids, and meeting John Palmer Parker, the sailor, and how John Palmer Parker married King Kamehameha's granddaughter. And then he started the Parker Ranch with these longhorn steers, cattle, on the grassy Hawaiian slopes. That's pretty good, huh? So that's how we create these images. It's really simple. And what I have is this NotebookLM from Google to be able to do this. And I can just create and create and create. I have an $8 per month subscription, and my limit is like creating 6 to 8 of these sets every day. Well, yeah, it's more than I need. So $8. With $8, I can create these. I created these 5 images. It probably cost me, I don't know, 20 cents. That's like really, really cheap. And I'll utilize this to illustrate my videos. You see how easy it is? AI can be used to help me illustrate times past. So when you're doing family history, genealogical research, family tree research, either with FamilySearch, Ancestry, FindMyPast, or others. You might think, I wonder what it was like during this time, and have AI do some research about what it was like during this time. For instance, how old were men when they married? Like between 1500 and 1800 in England and most of Europe, they were around 30 years old. How old were the women at that time? You ask AI. AI will tell you. Usually they got married between 18 and 22. That's the most common answer. Of course, some of the women were married when they were nearly 30 years old, and some of the men were married when they were almost 40 years old, or even older. But AI can do the research on that. And then AI can also illustrate the past. So if you want to be able to, like in my case, if I wanted to illustrate the story of John Palmer Parker, like we did with these 5 slides, look at that. That's great. I don't have to have somebody come over and paint it for me. I don't have to have an illustrator who charges $80 to $90 an hour to illustrate it for me. No, I just go to this Google NotebookLM, tell it exactly what I want, and it creates it. And if I don't like it, I just hit the revise button, and it revises it slide by slide. Isn't that great? So that's the power of AI in helping us do research on our family history past and also illustrate stories from the past. This is a great day for us to be alive and to be able to do family history research. And a great day for you to join me at Hand It Down as we take your story and make it their treasure.